Hey everyone, it's Mandy Gibbons here, and I'm here with tonyknight. And what is really cool about today's is that this is the first podcast that I've done of this particular podcast, where I've actually been like in person, face to face, versus just like via Zoom. So we're recording this via Zoom, but yeah, so this is pretty cool. So welcome, Tony.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be back in Western Australia. It's been a while.
It has, yeah.
Yeah, they wouldn't let me in for ages.
You can share why after that.
Well, yeah. No, that's the restraining order against the entire population of Perth.
He's king. So, but yeah, I mean, for me, I met Tony through because I had senior Labradors in Geraldton. There was a lot of issues with dogs and antisocial behaviour with dogs. And I had seen online, like looking up people that could be helpful for this. I found Tony, I reached out to Tony. I said, wouldn't it be cool, you know, if you were like, and he said, well, if you can organise it, you can make it happen. And I was like, holy crap, well, okay, I'll take it on. And that's how it happened. That's how we got to meet in person, and we've continued our friendship ever since. So, and what I wanted to do with Tony today was, you know, we can talk about like the way that you work with humans and dogs, but also I want to be able to share Tony's resilience story because he has a very powerful one, and I think that that would be very helpful for men. Welcome, Tony, and your awesomeness.
Thank you. Shucks. No, I'm awesome.
He actually is. So if you could like tell us a little bit about what you do, like you can tell us about the comedy stuff as well, but you know, but share like...
Yeah, dangle that carrot then. Tell us about the comedy stuff as well. He's naturally funny, so you'll see that in there, so it won't surprise you that this is something else that he's doing. But there's obviously resilience in that, right? Because we were actually just talking about that. I was saying to Tony, like, I would be scared shitless, like doing comedy, where for him it comes natural, but there's also being scared shitless, yes, pretty natural.
Yes. No, that like he will continue to do like this throughout the podcast, which is gonna make it awesome. So, but yeah, for me it would be very nerve-wracking, where for you it comes naturally, but there's also that component of like being able to step up for the challenge, right? Because if someone doesn't think something is funny, and you see this actually a lot in the entrepreneurial world, right? There's quite a few men now that are actually like doing stand-up comedy as a way to challenge themselves and really push themselves outside of their comfort zone. Yeah. So I'd love to. I'm really intrigued about you doing this, and so if you could share a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. You want me to start with what I do with dogs, or the dog training, or with the comedy? Because I mean, the thing is, right now they've sort of bled into each other. That's the thing. Okay,
we'll do that. Yeah. Yeah. Share how they're combined. Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
Okay. Yeah. It's a very simple premise. It's the I've worked with dogs for over 20 years now. Yes. And I got interested in. I've always been interested in stand-up comedy, and I tried it when I was in my 20s. Really didn't enjoy the whole process. I only think I did about a dozen around the UK. I found it really stressful. Yes. If I told a joke and somebody they didn't laugh, it felt like the earth was going to open up and swallow me. And the rare occasions when it did work, it felt amazing. So that was the one thing. And I do have, I suppose, we talk about regrets. I do have regrets that I didn't continue. But that's only because now, many years later, I've come back to it, but with a different mindset. And I think the biggest mindset change that I've got is to think, if I tell a joke and somebody doesn't laugh, so what? It's not the end of the world. And what I do then is you take it as a learning process, because if you think something's funny, and I think ultimately, if you're telling a joke or you come up with a joke that you find funny, you will find other people who find it funny. But that's not going to be everybody. It's an art form. Although I think that's a bit rich. You can imagine Michelangelo, spending 10 years doing the Sistine Chapel, and he goes, that's art. And I go, yeah, but also Brother Luigi here's got a joke about penises. It's not the same. But the fact is, it is art, and it's like, I treat a joke like a sculpture. You're chipping away at it until, and if people come at the beginning, they go, oh, that's a rubbish sculpture. You go, well, I've only just started. And you just chip away. And I was just saying to you earlier, I do a joke that has for ages not worked. And then the last 2 times I just changed one tiny way that I described the joke, and everybody laughs.
Yeah.
And so you go, aha, that's what I had to do.
Yes.
And there's the perseverance of it. You know you've got an idea, you know you've got a nugget there, but it's just fashioning it so other people get it.
Yes.
But if you know, you do a gig and people are there and you're not their cup of tea, that's all right. They might like Michael McIntyre or Mrs. Brown's voice, whatever floats your boat, you know, and that's not necessarily my stuff.
Yeah.
But we all have different tastes.
Yes.
We all have different things that we like and we don't like. And so you will get to a stage where you meet enough people who like what you do.
Yes.
That when you say, I'm doing a gig, they'll come to you because they like you.
Yes.
And that's where you find your audience.
Yes.
So that, for me, is that healthy idea of, if I tell a joke and it doesn't go down well, okay, do I work on it? Do I chuck it? Do I, you know, but if you think you've got something there, persevere.
Yes.
Because you will meet people who like it as well.
Yes.
But it's never going to be everybody.
Yes.
And so that healthy kind of, I don't give a fuck, basically.
Yes.
Although it's not, I don't give a fuck, regardless.
Yes.
It's, I'll take it on board and see what I can do.
Yes.
But it's not worrying if you don't get the outcome that you want straight away.
Yes.
It doesn't mean you failed. It means, okay, it doesn't work necessarily that way. And I'll always give a joke at least 3 goes.
Yes.
I'll say it 3 times minimum.
Yeah.
And if after 3 I go, yeah, this isn't working, back to the drawing board, or I'll chuck it, because I'll come up with other ideas.
Yeah.
But it's just, so yeah, the stand-up was just something I was always, you know, attracted to. I enjoyed it, and I just thought, and I got to the point where during COVID, I say stuck in Australia. There are worse places to be stuck. But I couldn't get back to Europe.
Yeah.
And so I was feeling a little bit sort of, what do I do with myself? And I saw on Facebook that there was a comedy competition, bring your best 3 minutes of material to Melbourne. And you know, it was just in a pub and it wasn't anything special. But I thought, I'll do it. It's only 3 minutes. Only 3 minutes.
Yeah.
If it's 3 minutes of hell, it's only 3 minutes.
Yes, that's it.
And turns out I got laughs, and I thought, oh, I enjoyed that. I actually enjoy it now.
Yeah.
And you do get the nerves, you know, when you're saying, you know, you cheat yourself. I do get the nerves sometimes, because you do go, oh, what if they don't laugh?
Yeah.
But then this other voice comes in, yeah, so what? You know, and I've had, the last 2 gigs I did one gig where the people really weren't into it.
Yeah.
And then the gig after that, yeah, went well. And so you never know.
Yes.
So you can't take it personally.
No.
Just work on your own thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, do your own thing. Don't try and please everybody.
That's it. And what's so cool about that in regards to resilience, because finding a way to, I guess, not conquer so much, but become more comfortable with rejection, it is part of resilience, right? And so that's why I think that's so cool, because you're facing that all the time. Yeah.
And stand-up is probably the most extreme art form there is, because there's just you and the microphone and the people, and it's an immediate reaction.
Yes.
If you're playing a song, people wait to the end of the song to applaud or not.
Yes.
If you're painting a picture, you have to wait until you've finished it.
Yes.
If you know, but if you tell a joke, bam, and there's no reaction, it's visceral. It really is extreme.
Yeah.
So it is, just the idea of thinking, you know, it's not. I get why people, you know, and I turned my back on it when I was in my 20s, because I went, this is too hard, I'm not enjoying it.
Yes.
And you've got to do something that you enjoy. But at the same token, I think what it is now is it's not having the fear of failure.
Yes.
Which, of course, that's a universal thing. So many people have the fear of failure because you don't want to get hurt by the failure.
Yeah.
And of course, and you've probably said this before, the fear of failure guarantees failure. Because you never try.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And so, it's get up there and, you know, tell a joke and it bombs. Oh, who cares, you know? It's fine. It's not a problem.
Yes.
Then you'll start to find the bits that do work, and before you know it, there's a comedy competition that I did last year, but I can't do this year now because I've earned too much money doing comedy. Brilliant, fantastic.
Yeah.
So, I'm terribly sorry I can't do your competition. But,
That's really good. Yeah. Isn't it funny how things kind of work out like that? That's kind of meant to be. Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, the thing is, at the moment, this is why I'm down here I'm over in WA.
Yeah.
Is as well as doing dog classes, which I'll get to in a sec.
Yes.
I've combined my dog training with comedy.
Yes.
Because I thought the best way for people to learn something is
Yes.
to enjoy the experience of learning.
Yes.
You know, we all remember crappy, teachers who were great at their subject. They had zero chemistry,
Yes.
zero inspiration with the
Yes.
students, so you just
Yes.
be looking at the clock the whole time.
Yeah.
And yet a good teacher
Yeah.
can completely change your life.
Yes. Yeah.
And almost guide you in a direction. You know,
Yes.
when I was a kid, I was 11 years old, went to big school,
yes.
and the teacher that really inspired me with their enthusiasm, and I kind of had an interest in it anyway,
yes.
was my French teacher.
Yes.
If he'd have been a bad teacher, he'd have ruined my already, the kernel of interest that I had in the beginning, because I was interested in France when I was about 9 or 10.
Yes.
And he inspired me, and I live in France. I speak fluent French.
Yes.
It can change your life.
Yes.
So for me, the idea is, you get people that really love dogs.
Yes.
Great, they're always on about dogs all the time, blah, 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 blah. And there are people who are their nearest and dearest, or members of the family or friends that are like, yeah, dogs are all right, but do you have to keep going on about them? I like the idea of that person being dragged to come and see a show about dog training, and then leaving going, that was a good night, I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So for me, it's about, can I entertain people?
Yes. And
give them information so they go home and start working with their dogs correctly.
Yeah.
And so now I know I can tell jokes. Can I weave them into the show? And just done the Perth Fringe last weekend.
Yes.
And I'm going to be doing Albany this weekend. So we're on the way to it.
Yeah.
And we thought we'd pop in and see you.
Which I'm stoked about.
And so it's working really well.
Yeah.
So it's just trying that. I wonder if that could work.
Yeah.
Giving it a go, going, yes, it can. Yeah. And if there's a bit that, and I've changed the show. I've only done it 3 times so far, but I've changed it slightly with each one, because I've gone, take that bit out, put that bit in, see what that, and it's so far, it's going really well. Yeah,
that's it. And isn't it funny, like, because people can relate to their connection and relationship with their dogs because it's such a personal one.
Oh,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But we love them. That's the whole point. We love our dogs.
Yeah.
And as a dog listener, one of the things that I keep telling people is, in order to get a good, to really understand our dogs, so we can get a better relationship, is to understand the true connection between humans and dogs. And what we do, there are things that get in the way of us having that good relationship. And one of the things is people will humanize dogs, which they don't do with cats, by the way. Cats can do whatever they like, get away with it all. But we humanize dogs. And the truth of the matter is, and this is fundamental to understanding a dog and getting a good relationship, is to understand that humans think like dogs. That's the way around it works. We are pack animals with a very strong sense of territory. I am stoked that my American football team, the Cincinnati Bengals, are in the semi-finals pretty much.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yes.
But if they meet the 49ers in the final, I'm going to be nervous as hell, because I hate that team.
Yes.
So, but and that's because there's a history there. But the fact is, why do we care about stuff? Because like that, because we choose our tribe, and we don't like tribes near us, or they're rivals because they're powerful, or there's proximity. So many times humans think like dogs, like animals, because we are still animals. That's the whole point. And we ignore that. We forget that we are animals, and we dress it up with, we have art and literature and society and religion and politics and philosophy and blah, blah, blah. But when we forget that we're also an animal underneath, then certain things that we do as people clash with that. We think we're so superior to everyone, but only a couple of years ago, people were fighting in the supermarket over toilet roll.
Yes.
Doesn't take long for the animal to come straight back out again.
Yes.
And so for me, it's getting people to identify that connection with their dogs.
Yes.
Means that they can then start to appreciate their dogs for what they are, and work with the nature rather than denying it.
Yes.
And then they see their dogs in a whole new way. They understand why their dog's doing what they're doing, and more importantly, I then give them the rules and the template of how to change the dog's mind. So you get any kind of problem behaviour, you can resolve by showing the dog, guess what, you don't have to do that anymore.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's, I've been doing this since 1999. Yeah. I love my job, because it changes people's lives, and you get to meet cool people, it's I think if you can help one person in your life, you've done well. And I like to think I've helped hundreds, maybe thousands of people, and I'll still keep doing it.
Yes, you're awesome at it, and I know even for in Jolton, when I had organised, and you came to that, and it was amazing seeing, especially for the dogs that were really antisocial, right? And I remember some of them like walking, back and forth out the front of the area where we were. Yeah. And then they came to join us, and they were so well behaved, and their owners were just like thrilled to bits with, by the end of the weekend, they were just like blown away by the transformation in their dogs. But not only that, the owners were transformed because they were so much more relaxed, and and which helps with the connection with your dog as well, right?
I mean, and the thing is, what I like about the method that I teach is you know, like you said, it works.
Yes.
But also it's easy to understand.
Yes.
And for me, the dogs are the easy part of my job.
Yes.
Because dogs already understand their language.
Yes.
Therefore, you've got to get that understanding into humans.
Yes.
You've got to get them to think it.
Yes.
And so once they understand how their dogs think and they have a plan of action,
yes.
that's like when you said, and we had it just at the weekend with a guy with a very, I mean, he described this dog, this German Shepherd, the night before we were going to, all meet. And we honestly thought, he's going to release the Kraken. This is going to be a nightmare. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, very quickly, this dog, because we did the right things, calmed down. He was more tense than the dog because he was thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen? He was like this. He was so stiff.
Yeah.
And once I started to show him what to do, and it made sense why, you could see him start to go, oh, I've got this.
Yes.
And then when his dog didn't react in the way that he expected, he relaxed more. Yes. If his dog did react, I'd given him a plan. Yes. And so he just went, all right, I'll just deal with that. And the dog calmed down super quick. Came back. And by the end of it, he was, they were both participating in some of the exercises, which before would have really put that dog under too much strain.
Yes.
But it's not saying, oh, I've got a miracle magic cure, ding, that's it, I sorted it. I tell you how to do it. Yes. So that you can do it. Because at the end of the day, they're not my dogs. Yes. They belong to the people. Yes. And so if the people know how to do it, and I guide them along the way, then they can change the dog's minds. And that's what I think is so great about this process. And I was in on it from the ground floor because my mum came up with it. Yes. And I remember, when she was formulating the process, she was going, I'd be going and visit, and she'd be like, what do you think about this? Do you think that makes sense? And I'm looking at her dog, so I'm going, yeah, well, it seems to be working. It makes sense to me. Yeah. And my background was in research and development. Yes. And I speak French. Yes. So this is about understanding a different language and showing other people how to do the process that you've successfully done. That just encapsulated the whole thing. Yes. And so I made a choice back in '99 about whether to carry on with my career in research and development or give this a chance. Yes. And I thought, well, this seems to be making a difference. This seems to be, it is life-changing. Yes. And I want to give this a go because I feel passionately about it. Yes. And my mum at the time said, well, what happens if we don't get any more work? I said, well, go back to the other, I'll find another job. Don't worry about it. Yeah. But this I believe in. Yes. And I'm still doing it, and I've travelled the world helping people with dogs, and I do this in English and French, and it's led to having a great life. Yes. But I also thought, if it fails, I'd rather have tried than not to try. Yes. And go for the safe option. Yes. And I get that that's a big barrier, big barrier for people. For a lot of people. Yeah. And I totally get that. And there are ways of doing it so you don't have to burn your bridges. Yes. But that just fell at the right time. But yeah. So it's a great process, and I've combined the two now. So comedy and dog training. Yeah, it works well. It works. And another thing that I noticed too when it comes to dog training is like how impressed people were with the process, because they were nervous about making fools of themselves, of course, right, with their dog, and that they weren't going to be able to do it. And then when they gave it a try and you stepped them through it, you could see them like going, oh. And then they were super confident, and then their dogs were like, had a bit more of a pep in their step, and were enjoying the process, and were having fun with it. Yeah. This is a thing. One of the things that dog trainers will say to people is, be calm. Yeah. And that's so much easier to say than to do. Yes. You can't fool a dog either. You can't just go, okay, and then be freaking out. The dog's going, I can detect how you feel, because dogs can pick up on how we feel physically and emotionally. Yes. Because of the biochemistry. Yes. We give off different scents and different smells. Yes. What does make you calm is having a plan. Yes. Because even when it does go wrong, you can control it and work with it, and the dog goes, oh, right. So I don't mind when things go wrong in a controlled manner, because that's the way the dog can learn. Yes. And so you almost encourage the dog to mess up in order for it to go, that's what happens now. And then you see them calm down. Yes. And the people, like you say, get more confident because they go, I know what to do about this now. Yes. And even when it does happen, it's not going to really turn to custard. Yeah. And it doesn't take long for a dog to learn once you're using those processes, for it to just and to know that that's a safe thing to do. Yeah. I mean, fundamentally, this is the thing. You're doing something that the dogs understand. Yes. So sometimes when you do this process, you act a certain way around your dog, you use their signals. There are some dogs that go, why didn't you say so before? Thank God. And that's why you get some dogs that relax just like that. You'll have some dogs that will go, oh really, you think you can do it? Okay, I'm going to test you now.
Yeah.
But that's fine, that's just their different personalities. So sometimes with some dogs you have to be a little bit just more stubborn than your dog.
Yes.
That's because for dogs this is life and death.
Yes.
And if I was to say to you, Mandy, now, you can trust me with your life.
Yeah.
You'd ask me some questions. And that's fine. I need to convince you.
Yes.
And once I've convinced you, then you'd listen.
Yes.
So it's the same thing.
Yes. Well, I actually would trust you. I mean, really, when you parked the van before, and I was like, just.
But you know, we've known each other,
I know.
And so you've had a chance
to
trust me. That's it. I wouldn't expect it just because I've got the knowledge. I'd have to demonstrate it.
Yes.
That's the thing. The knowledge is one thing. Communicating it is the next thing.
Yeah, that's it. And it's funny, even when I think of Louis, he was my Labrador. Like he just, he was old. Anyway, but I remember him just like, he was watching it all, and he was like, I think because I went in there thinking that there could be some craziness, and he got there and he realised that it wasn't like that, and it was all, and he just laid on the ground, was like, I don't care. I'm just like,
it's not my problem. That's it. Dogs react to stuff and they think it's their problem. When they realise it's not their problem anymore, they go, fine, great, just let me know when you're ready.
That's it.
That's what we can do.
Yes. And that's awesome, and so how have you found that, you know, because obviously have you got maybe like one or two case stories of, you know, where it's really substantially changed someone's life with their, you know, with how they've been able to like do more things with their dogs? Because, you know, so many people limit themselves and their enjoyment and their quality of life because they've got themselves so wound up with anxiety, and their dogs are caught up in that too, and they don't get to have as much fun as possible, right?
I think, you know, one of the best examples is Hayley, my partner.
Yes.
She had a dog, before she came to dog listening, she had a dog called Roxy.
Yeah.
It was a Shar-Pei.
Yes.
And Roxy developed such bad separation anxiety that the moment that Hayley left the house, Roxy's screaming the place down, that she was nicknamed the termite because Roxy would destroy everything that was made out of wood in the house. Because chewing is not through boredom, right? When I watch the Bengals play the NFL, I'm not bored, but this is a stressful thing. We call it nail biting is when you're stressed, it releases a natural endorphin. It helps calm the system down. And Hayley tried everything to stop that dog from tearing up her house. She tried exercising the hell out of the dog. And a Shar-Pei does not cope well in this kind of weather.
No.
So, you know, she just turned to mush and would still be reacting whenever she left. She tried drugs, you know, which is what the vets, you know, would prescribe a lot of the time, straight away. No, not even a dent in the behaviour, on the maximum dose. She tried, you know, putting food out because they said, oh, the dog's bored. That didn't work either. In fact, it backfired because it gave Roxy more ammunition to go, I'm in charge, which is we explain as part of this process. What worked was discovering dog listening. Having a dog listener come over who was in Melbourne at the time, who had come over to the UK and Mum and I had taught. Showed Hayley how to change Roxy's behaviour. She implemented the process and got to the stage where as she was leaving the house, Roxy be in her bed like, see you later.
See ya.
Not my problem anymore. And as a result of that, people started asking Hayley questions. And she thought, well, I better get trained up if I'm going to help people with their problems. So she came to the foundation course. She came to the advanced course. We got to know each other. I found out she lived in Torquay. And I said, well, I've got friends in Torquay. They'd let me have their apartment, so maybe we can meet up for a drink. And life changed. Right? So life pulls you in different ways. So it's funny how a nightmare dog has led to me and Hayley being together for over 12 years now. And so, you know, it's funny how things change. So and obviously I've got loads of stories about how dogs have changed dramatically. Roxy is still the worst case of separation anxiety we've ever dealt with. And not only did that get solved, but now we're together.
There you go.
It's funny how it works out.
I know, that's so cool. Because I knew a little bit about your story about how you and Hayley met, so now I know that too, so that's cool. I was going to actually ask that during today, so there you go. That's cool. And so I know we were having a conversation before this about, because I think it's really important that we share our own resilience stories, right? Because obviously it's taken a lot of, I mean, you've made some pretty awesome decisions and pushed yourself out of your comfort zone with quite a lot of things that you've done. So what's sort of maybe one of the most challenging things that come to mind for you that maybe were like a big turning point for you? Or yeah.
I mean, it's not, as I said, you know, my mum came up with this process, okay, and I was there at the ground level helping her, you know, as I was her sounding board, and then she started to get known for what she did, and I was always pushing her, saying, you can do this, you can do this. And I remember, for example, one time she got asked to go on the radio in the UK to give people some advice, because she'd been involved in this TV show, and they'd come over to film, and they noticed that the dogs were really well behaved. Yeah. And I said, so how is it your dogs are so well behaved? And my mum said, well, I've invented this system. Would you like to come in and talk about it? And she was like, well, I don't think I could do that. I said, of course you could. Go for it. Yeah. Great. This is a great method. Get out there. And she got out there, and she got on the radio, and neighbours from hell, while I was, you know, I mean, I didn't live there at the time, but they came round and basically threatened her and said, we heard you on the radio, you're a charlatan, get it, you know, you better wind your neck in, that kind of thing. And so I went to visit Mum, and she's like, you know, crying her eyes out. I said, what's the matter? And she told me what happened. She said, maybe I should not go in next time. I said, listen, the most exciting thing that those fuckers are going to do next week is have a corned beef sandwich.
That's true.
Now, do you want to join them, or do you want to change the world? Yes. And so I was always there pushing her that she could do it, and then, you know, she got national attention, and then we got a book deal, and I was always there, you know, to help. You know, I remember when she got the book deal offer, I said, make sure you get the US, and they came in with the US. So I was always there to guide her. To, you know, and I thought, great, I've helped my mum, because, you know, she was a single parent. My mum and dad split up when I was like 11, and I always felt responsible for looking after her, and, you know, protecting her. And so this was, for me, it's like I'm helping my mum get to somewhere where, you know, she didn't know what she was going to do with her life, and then this thing happened, and it's like, let's go for this, you can do this, this is great.
Do you mind if I ask how old you were at the time? Were you like a young man, like, because...
Yeah, I was in my mid to late 20s.
Yes,
So like 1999, I was 29 when I did this full time. But my mum had been doing it for a little while before that. Yes. So I'll be like 27, maybe 28, something like that. Yes. And just, you know, saying you can do this. So it was, when the book deal happened. Yes. I think the book deal happened in, was it 2000? Because I'd already given up my work at research and development. Yes. Because Mum got loads of people asking for help all around the country. Yes. And she said, I can't see everybody. Yes. And so she was panicking about that. Yes. I said, all right, well, train me up how you do the job. Yes. I'll go and help them. Your method gets shared. Yes. And I get some pocket money. Result. Yeah. Because I was working for a French company, lots of holidays. But then I ran out of holidays. Because I kept getting, you know, and these people were still asking for help. Yes. So I went to my boss, who had a German Shepherd, and I'd helped him. I said, look, Paul, this dog thing I really want to do, but I don't want to let you guys down. So how about I go part-time? Yes. And I'm the only one in the department that can type. So how about I take care of the admin? Yes. And he said, well, I'm fine with that. Let's ask headquarters what they think. And they said, no, get rid of him. So they felt bad about the redundancy thing, but I thought, no, that seems to just be the right thing to do. Yes. And so I've been there all this time helping Mum out and building the business, and, you know, encouraging her the whole way. And she got a TV show, and then I got syndicated, which is how, you know, I got to travel around the world, because we started doing courses to help people understand their dogs, and then people wanted to be trained up. Yes. So we're doing all this on the fly, thinking, how can we do this and do it as well as possible? Yeah. So we've been doing that for ages. Yeah. And unfortunately, my mum's got this kind of a bit of a control issue. Yes. And a lot of people have that. I get that, you know, wanting to control the method. And the reason this happened is because people would come in, get associated with us, and then they'd want to do their own thing because they thought they'd do better. And that's happened throughout, you know, human history. Yes. You know, that's why, for example, you got biker gangs. Yes. You know, because one member of a gang will go, oh no, I think I could do a much better gang over here, and then all of a sudden, bam, bam, bam. Yeah. It happens. It's human nature to form your own tribe or your own clique. Yeah. And so Mum was getting affected by that and starting to get more and more, it's my way or the highway. I'm going to be very strict about how I do this. Yes. But modern technology, life just changes. Yes. That's the one constant in life, is life changes. Yes. So I was always saying to, you know, I had ideas like we should do stuff online, and she was very much against that because, no, it's not pure enough. And eventually she did, but by then it was kind of too late. Yes. And then I was saying we should do dog classes, you know, and she was like, no. and got to the point where my sister got involved. Now, my relationship with my sister has never been great.
Yes.
Because we're chalk and cheese, basically. Yes. But she was suffering she was a teacher, and she was suffering physically through her work. It was affecting her physical health because she couldn't control the situation there.
Yes, yes.
So she got to the stage where she was really ill, and I said, look, you just leave the job. Yes. It's going to kill you. Yeah. Come and work with us. Yes. And I thought, great, I'm helping my sister. Mm. And so what happened, unfortunately, very quickly, was she started to try and control that. Yeah. And started to try and control me. And say, you should do the job this way. You should do the classes this way. Because I have all this knowledge in education. I went, yeah, that's fine to take on board like tactics, but I think you should see how I do the job first. Because like you said, I do the job well. Yeah. But she refused to even see me do the job and said, no, you're doing it this way or not at all. And then she got all, official, like she was still at school, still in a government organisation, and it's just a family business. Yeah. And so things came to a head, and when it's in family, there's a certain amount of familiarity. Basically, we haven't spoken for God like 9 years now. And she helped convince my mum to kick me out of the organisation. So I went from having a career in the family business to basically not just being out on my own, but then they actively tried to sabotage me, saying that I wasn't able to do it, and I was, stealing and betraying them when they kicked me out. Yeah. And this is where Hayley was amazing, because Hayley was really supportive. Because the thing is, there are times when you think, is it me? Yeah. Is this something about me? So I said, hey, I sort of show her what was going on, what was being said, and I was like, is it me? Am I doing something wrong here? She went, no, don't worry, and she's not just saying that out of loyalty. Yes, yes. She would tell me.
I know, Hayley, she would be very upfront.
Which is why I asked her.
Yeah, yes, yes.
And I have this thing like, if you're in a family situation and you think you're the bad one, chances are you're not. Yes. If you're absolutely convinced you're not, you probably are. Yes, so they've got this idea that I've betrayed them. And so I had to really start again from scratch. And I thought about doing other things. Maybe I should change my career again, like I did back in '99. Yeah. And then I did things like, I can draw quite well, so I did some pet portraits. I thought that earns me a bit of income. I was kind of stifled because I was in Australia and I couldn't work in Australia, but I'd go back to Europe, and there was always that, he's not really one of us, and but fortunately people saw that I could do the job really well. Yes. And I've been able to build up my own identity again. Yes. And it would have been great to have been part of the family. Yes. But the fact that they kicked me out was like, okay, well, I couldn't control. This is the idea of control. Yes, yes. They went crazy trying to control me. Yes. Rather than trying to control how, which is the only thing you can actually control, is how you feel about a situation. Yes. Yes. I'm a very good teacher of this method. Yes. And rather than think we've got an asset here, they were like, but he's not doing it the way we want to do it. Yes. And I knew that what they wanted to do to change it would have been detrimental. Yes. I knew that. Yeah. And they wouldn't listen to me. Yes. So I tried to control the way I felt about it, thinking, well, that's the way it is. I've been kicked out. How can I make the best of it? Yes. And I was prepared to change my career, but I really enjoyed doing it. Yes. Yes. So I went, no, I'm just going to keep plugging away. And it did get difficult. Yes. There was a time when I was seeing my savings go down, thinking, oh God, what, because I was basically losing a big chunk of my wages. Yes. Yes. But kept doing it and building it up and building it up. Yes. And I'm still here. That's the main thing. And so look, that ultimately is, I'm still doing the job. The relationship with my sister is pretty much kaput. But you know what? That's fine. Yeah. That's the other thing. You sometimes you feel that you're beholden to people just because genetically or biologically you're in the same gene pool. Yes. That doesn't have to be the case. I mean, that's the thing. When people say, blood's thicker than water, some members of my family are thicker than I am. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that you have to bend over backwards to try and please other people. Yes. To the detriment of yourself. And the detriment to the greater good, right? Yeah, because absolutely. Because that was very meaningful to you to make sure that the process was held congruent to it working really well with humans. And the dogs and its effectiveness, and because you'd proven that over and over again, and that, you didn't, just for the sake of control, you didn't want to ruin that, right? No. Because that then would have ruined their reputation as well. As, it's so. I mean, the thing is as well, like you said, for me it's the bigger picture. There have been people in the past who we've taught to become dog listeners, and then they've decided they can do it better their own way, and they've repackaged themselves, and they haven't said it's, you know, this process that we've taught them. They've just sort of, and my mum with the whole sense of betrayal thinks that's the worst thing, and maybe we should sue them. And my attitude is, your method is still getting taught now to more people than if you've done it yourself. So even if it's not us doing it, the whole point of teaching other people to become dog listeners was because we couldn't do it, just the two of us around the world. So the fact that other people have done it and then they're claiming the credit, okay, I can see why that would annoy you. But at the same time, don't waste your energy on that. Think, I'm going to carry on doing my own thing. And, you know, it's come back in positive ways. There's one guy who I taught over in New Zealand who has now established a very good business model online. Fair play to him. And, you know, it's really annoyed my mum, but I thought, don't waste your time trying to be litigious. He's helping people with your process. And as a result, a few years back, he said to me, Tony, I run a forum on my website, and I'm getting sick of doing it. Can you recommend somebody to take over? So I suggested Hayley. And she's doing that right now as we're talking. She's doing the forum. So it's a job she's had for quite a few years now. So it's like, by not being litigious, we're getting a stream of income. So there's two ways of doing it. Try to control everything, and the tighter you grip sand, the more it comes out your fingers. Or rather, you think, I can control how I feel about this. And that's going to make a huge difference. So, you know, the situation with my family is regrettable. But I'm not going to waste my time wailing and gnashing teeth, because it's the way it is. They are the way they are. I can't change them. But I can change how I feel about it. And I'm still out there helping people with dogs. And eventually they might come around and go, yeah, you're doing a good job. But if they don't, that's the way it goes.
And how did that make you stronger as a person, right? Because when it's family, I mean, it's always tough in, you know, if it's like a partner, it's really, really tough. You're so, like, you and Hayley are just meant to be, right? You were just, like, she's amazing, and you can tell how passionate she is, but she's just a very compassionate, caring, but very strong person, right?
Definitely.
And I'm so, like, I love seeing you two together, and I was actually wondering how long you guys have been together, because you feel like so in sync, but you also are very much your own person. Exactly. Like, you can tell that about you, which is so cool, right? It's like you haven't lost yourselves in each other's identity. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
I'm saying?
It's like, you know, the team works very well together, but we can also, you know, separately, we're our own person. Definitely. I mean, that's why it was so helpful that she was around while all this was going on, so I could, like you say, ask her the question. No, seriously, don't just try and, you know, pander to me. Am I doing something here? And you know, that, you know, I was completely blameless, because I kind of let stuff go along because it's family dynamics. And, you know, basically, you know, calling my sister the C word was, you know, well, I didn't. I said, if you're going to act like a C word, I'm going to treat you like a C word. And no, you called me a C word. No, I said, if you're going to act like one, and if you got upset, that's because you know you're acting like one. And so, but that's family dynamics. So the fact is, to have her there to say, no, you know, you're not the one in the wrong here, and you know, and she knows how it keeps going. Like recently, I tried to get back in touch with Mum because I was going back to the UK. After COVID, we could get back to Europe. So I thought, I'll go around the UK. If she finds out that I went to the UK and I didn't try and see her, there's going to be hell to pay. So I got in touch and said, we're going to be in the UK. Do you want to meet up for a coffee? And she just put best not. And I thought, I tried. I tried. And I think that's the thing. With family, yes, you can let it get to you because we put so much importance on family, and yet sometimes there are real double standards. And I wouldn't kick out a member of my own family from their livelihood and then try and sabotage them because they don't do what I want. I wouldn't do that. So the fact that was done to me was like, okay, well, if that's how much you care about me, fair enough. I won't have so much loyalty to you. And I think some people get hamstrung by that loyalty to the point where they just grind themselves into the ground, and their health suffers. There's so many things that go wrong just to try and please people that will never be pleased. This whole thing about how sons are always trying to impress their fathers. And they feel bad because their fathers would never say, I did that when I was a kid with my dad. And my dad had his own issues. That's the thing we forget. We think that parents are perfect, they're gods, until we realise, no, they're ordinary people. And so I was able to, you know, I didn't speak to my dad for years because when I was a younger man, I took things personally. The moment I didn't take it personally, because he used to be the kind of person person that would like to get a reaction out of you by saying something snidey or nasty.
Yeah.
Like when I really got into speaking French and the French culture and everything, I used to say, oh, France is so much better than England, and he used to always want you to just move there.
Yeah.
So towards the end of his life, I did. And not just, that wasn't for him.
I know.
That was for me.
I know.
And then at one point, I remember he used to say things like politically to try and get a rise out of me.
Yeah.
He was a keen racist, but that's as a hobby, And he said something about, people come to Britain, they should learn English.
Yes.
And I said, I agree, because when I went to France, speaking French is not only a sign of respect, but it just makes your life easier.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and he went, "Are you agreeing with me?" I went, "Yeah." He went, "Oh, I don't know what to do about that," and that made my day. Made my day, because I got him. I'd actually got him. And so when we're trying to please people who will never be pleased because they've got their own shit going on, that eats into your own soul. If you think, I'm going to please myself, and I don't mean please yourself and not care about anybody. So I'm going to be happy for myself. Because some people feel, to make themselves feel better, try and drag you down. Those people get it, run. All right. If you have people and I like to think I'm one of those people, that in order to make myself feel better, help to raise people up. Those are the people you stick around. Because they're going to be good for you. And if it's, you're in a relationship or, in a family where the people are dragging you down, don't think you have to stay there for a second to your detriment. Because the thing is, if you leave, there's a possibility they will go, hang about, why did they leave? And then buck their own ideas up. And if they don't, you're not in that toxic environment anymore. So it's a win-win for you. You're either not in that toxic environment or they actually raise their game. At which point you then have a good relationship. But to keep going the same way, thinking one day they'll get better, one day I'll fix them. No, you fix yourself.
And did you find, was there like a part of you that would sort of like tolerate or put up with a certain amount because you had felt obligated because your mum had been a single mum and you had sort of felt like you had to step up for her, that you
totally. I mean, because that was pushed upon me as when I was 11 years old. You're the man of the house now. You should look up. And so I had that weight of I've got to look after my mum,
which is a lot for a boy.
11-year-old. Exactly. And it got to the point where with the whole dog listening thing, when she became known and on TV, and I thought, great, she bought a big house, and she got new cars. I went, great. We were struggling all through the 80s on sod all money, and she managed to keep us going all that time, which was impressive. She came up with this process, which got her to where she is. Fantastic. And now you've got all this money, and you must be so happy. And she was the same miserable, bloody, but worse. Because and that was when I went, but why are you still miserable? And that's when I started to go, do you know what, maybe it's not my responsibility to look after you. Maybe you've just got to look after yourself now. And I think that's when the relationship started to actually go wrong. Because I wasn't there feeling obligated. Because I decided I can't change who you are. I've helped you. For me, when she got to there, it's like I definitely helped. To push you along, to get you there. So this idea of helping her to be a happier person, I did. And she still wasn't happy. And I thought, do you know what, maybe it's you. And I kind of can pinpoint that's when our relationship started to degrade a little bit. And with my sister, trying to do the right thing to help her because of her health, backfired on me. And so it's like, do you know what, I'm out of here. That's fine. If you want to push me out, I'm just going to keep going to the other side of the planet. As far as I can go, and it's it works. It's fine. I saw my nieces last year. Went to Wales where my sister lives. Saw them, and I hadn't seen them for ages. And that at the time when me and my sister broke, got that relationship died or whatever. They were very upset and angry with me. Because they'd heard one side of it. But then I always remember one of my nieces said, I've grown up a bit now. So sorry for having a go at you. I see what my mum was like. So that's nice that happened. But if it hadn't happened, I would have understood where their loyalties were.
Of course.
I wouldn't have tried to push it. That's just, you can't do anything about other people. Like with dog listening. There are so many people out there that won't listen to the dog listening method. I don't waste my time trying to convince them. There are people that are ready. They're open. They come along. Great. Those are the ones I'll talk to, because they want to listen. You try, change everybody's mind, you're hitting your head against a brick wall.
And there are some people, and I know it's because I noticed this I used to see this at the dog park as well, but but you see this where it's like people are, it's nearly like they get a bit of a rush or some kind of justification or validation out of their dog being a mental case.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and so
they're proud of it.
Yeah.
I'm the crazy dog lady with a mental dog. And then you change it and the dog relaxes and some people go, oh, I don't like this. Because now people are going to, oh no, I've built my entire identity around this crazy dog and now the dog's not crazy.
And so some people won't even bother going to a training because
one of the things that I do, you know, when I teach other people to be dog listeners is I say the dogs are the easy part of the equation.
Yes.
What you've got to do, dogs already understand their language.
Yes.
So what you've got to do is get people to understand that language.
Yes.
And if people do the process, they will get results.
Yes.
But things get in the way, like the idea of identity. So one of the elements that I do, which is my favourite element on the whole advanced course, is we do an hour and a half about human psychology.
Ah, awesome.
And actually, it's 4 years of human psychology in an hour and a half.
Wow.
Because I condense it right down.
Yeah.
And I've asked psychologists, psychiatrists who have been on the course at the end, because you know, I'm open to listen to new ideas.
Yes.
And I've said to them, you know, what do you think? Do you think that that's a good summary of your profession?
Yes.
And they've got, you know, I've got lots of good feedback from them going, yeah, that's really good. One of them, I remember, they said, yes, you've shown a basic grasp of the fundamentals. Because of course I've basically gone, you know, like 4 years of study you did, I just condensed it into an hour. You're feeling a bit, because I've got this identity.
Yes.
So I knew exactly where that was coming from. So I was like, thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah, human beings, we're weird sometimes, and I'm including me and you.
Yes.
We are all weird.
Yes, of course.
And I think one of the good things to do is to recognise when you're doing something.
Yes.
Because when you're aware of it, you can actually stop yourself.
Yes.
I think so many people just get, you know, they're unconscious and they're going down this path, and it's like for me, and this is the thing, it's something I've thought about for years, and people have this idea that the world's out to get them, you know, they're out to get you. Who's they? All them.
Yes.
That's actually a survival trait, if you think about it, that animals have. I always liken it to, you know, imagine the African savannah, and there's an oasis, and antelope are drinking at the oasis. Drink, 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 drink. And all of a sudden one of them goes, was that a leopard? And it's that one, it's more likely to survive if it is a leopard. So the idea that something's out to get you is actually a useful survival technique to keep you on your toes. However, we're in a world where that's not necessary. We're in a society where that's not necessary, but we've still got the same instincts. And so what we do is it becomes a nebulous threat. Like it's them that's going to get you. And you can go down that path and drive yourself insane. Or you could be aware of it, it's a survival trait, which is useful if it does become the end of days. But right now it doesn't, so I just put it back on the shelf.
You know what, I think there's a difference between, I think it's great to question things, but I think there's a difference between questioning things and being curious versus letting the fear of that consume your life. And without
the identity, they feel vulnerable because they're having an existential crisis. If I'm not that, what am I? And so it's weird that that's the thing that drives them. So, you know, and if there are people in your life that are like that, just know it's up to them to change themselves. It's not up to you. You're wasting your time trying to convince them. I think when people have a sudden, you know, they have this sudden inspiration that they'll change their life. Which is either inspiration or desperation. People say I suddenly stopped and thought, what are you doing? And it is them taking a step away from themselves to look at themselves. So they're actually doing that awareness thing of they're finally just going, what am I doing? Then when they're aware of it, then they can start to change it. And I still have moments where, you know, I get angry or frustrated or whatever because I'm a human being. That's what we do. But what I'm able to do now is like shine a flashlight and shine a torch on it and go, what are you doing there? And it's amazing. Once you put your attention to it, that thought goes, wasn't doing anything.
I do that to myself a lot. We were talking about that before, right? Like the insights, right, into yourself. And when you're able to do that, it's quite freeing, right? Because it's better to do that than to find yourself, you know, like days, weeks, months, years down the track, just like on the same path that's soul destroying to yourself, right?
You know, when I was studying university French, one of the poets that we studied was a guy called 𝗍𝗱𝗆𝗆 𝗚𝗶𝗆𝗆, and he talked about the spleen and the ideal, which was the highfalutin, you know, sort of fancy ideas we have, and the animal that's always there.
Yes.
And the clashes between.
Yeah.
And there are clashes. But when you realise that we are both animals,
yes,
then we can manage both animals.
Yes.
And I think so many people aren't aware of that, which is why they have crisis, or because and it took me time to realise. It was that moment of awareness where I went, hang on, this now makes a lot of bloody sense.
Yes.
Why I've been acting this way.
Yes.
And now I'm aware of it, I still sometimes have those thoughts, but I'm able to just go, all right, calm your farm.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
So it's all right to still have them. You're not failing.
Yes.
Now meditation, for example, I've started doing meditation. I've even started doing yoga because I'm getting older and I'm getting a bit stiff. So I'm thinking, I think I better, because I don't want to be, I see old people in the street bent over and I'm going, my back's hurting.
Yeah.
Maybe I should stretch it out a bit. But with meditation, they say, don't think that you've got to have this serene thought.
Yes.
It's just sit down quietly, and whatever's going through your brain is whatever goes through your brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
It's like self-acceptance, right?
Yeah.
Acceptance of.
And you can have a thought and you go, oh, that's a weird thought.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, interesting. I thought that was a weird thought.
Yeah.
You're having a little internal monologue.
Yeah.
But and it helps you to deal with whatever. And it's just, whether we've got time to do it or not. But so many people just scroll through their phones for about an hour without thinking.
Yeah.
Change it. Just change your routine slightly and go, okay, I'm going to scroll from my phone and get to YouTube, meditation 20 minutes.
Yeah. It's actually a lot easier to behave and take action from momentum and a positive place once you get used to catching yourself out. And and building that as something that you regularly do, because then it's kind of by default, right? And that's when that self-acceptance and that kindness comes in, because then you catch yourself, and rather than getting angry with yourself, which will then send you on a whole nother of hating yourself or whatever, getting upset about with yourself, if you just come from a place of acceptance and acknowledgement, okay, that's how I'm feeling at the moment, cool, and then going and then getting clear on what you can be taking action from now, because I use neuroplasticity based audio tools, which are very good for rewiring the mind and body and calm your nervous system and stuff like that, and doing that really quickly. I create them for my clients as well, and it's great for just like calming yourself in the moment, right? And if you're feeling like you're at a point where you're frustrated, upset, hurt, betrayed, or anything that you're feeling angry, it just stills you. You're not like empty-minded. I can do that now if I wanted to, which is an absolute miracle for me, by the way. Because my head's up. But I find that being able to do that brings you clarity and creativity really, really quickly. And once you're able to do that, that's when you get to think outside of the box, right? And that's when you, by default, then get to create new solutions and opportunities and possibilities for yourself really, really quickly, versus just being stuck in that place of tight and anger and frustration. And when you're talking about, sort of the idea of having a healthy disrespect for, to do your own research, that kind of thing. There's nothing wrong when people say, you're told that you should act a certain way or think a certain way, to go, who says? Really, who says? Because there's pressure put on men, for example, to act in a manly way. And I'm not saying don't. I'm saying, well, who says you've got to? We're all different. We're not just two genders. I mean, today there's multiple genders, apparently, okay? But the fact is, within whatever gender you are, there are different personalities. And the idea that you should do a certain thing because it's expected of you, who says? So what? We're on this planet for only a certain amount of time, and it's an amazing thing that we're actually here, to be honest. If you think about it, in the scope of the universe, to be on this little ball of rock that's just the right distance away from the sun, so it's not too hot and not too cold, that we can live, the chances of that are literally astronomical. I'd like to ask you that, actually, from a guy's point of view, that when it comes to, have you ever felt the pressure from other blokes to be a certain way, behave in a certain way, and how has it impacted you, or how did you handle that, or?
Look, I think, the traditional thing when you're growing up, for example, when you're an adolescent, is how much beer can you drink? I always remember that. I remember one guy at my school, so we're like 15, he went, I had 20 pints last night. Oh, did you? Yeah, I was sick everywhere. Oh, brilliant. That sounds like a laugh. Yeah, exactly. I'm a bloke.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, I like a drink, but,
yeah.
you know, and of course, as a teenager, I, you know, did that sort of thing because you kind of expected to. But you get to the point where you think, am I really enjoying it? And if you are, okay, whatever. If you're not, maybe you'd find something else.
Yes.
The whole bravado thing, I'm not a big fan of the bravado because I think you're kind of making up for your own inadequacies.
Yes.
I think if you're confident with who you are,
you
don't need to beat your chest or you know be laddie and you know that's it's all right, and I can do that. But it's like a cousin of mine plays soccer, football.
Yeah.
You know, he's a coach at a Premiership team, so he's good.
Yeah.
And I remember going out for breakfast with a load of them, and there's banter and there's blokey, and I'm just sitting there going, that's nice.
Yeah.
But they're in an environment where they feel they have to do that. I'm not, because I'm working for myself. I can do what I want.
Yes.
And you know, when I do comedy, obviously there are other comedians, but there are men and women, so it doesn't, you know, it doesn't. And some of them are trying to prove a point because you've got cliques in comedy as well. You've got certain groups of people, they like to be among themselves, they'll run their own room and they won't let you in. You know, and it's fine, whatever, you know. I know why you're doing it. Human beings are pack animals with a strong sense of territory, blah, blah, blah. If there are other people who are great, genuine, who, you know, and I know there are some places I can go to because I know the guys, they're good people, and they'll say, yeah, you got some material coming. There are other people that I'll get in touch with and they're like, no, we've got our own people thinking of it. Fine, whatever, I don't care. I don't care. In fact, I've started my own room where we are.
Oh, cool.
Because I was like, you know, well, it's less travelling for me because Melbourne's 2 hours away. And so if I go to Ballarat, then that's only 40 minutes. I always say, this is funny, I had this saying when I was about 15. I said, the world is full of miserable bastards. The key to success is don't be one of them. And I hold true to that. To this day, I think, you know, they can drag you down. Absolutely, they can try and drag you down to their level. You rise above it, they might come and join you, or you just leave them behind. And that's even if it's just in your own mind. You'll feel better. And that's what counts, because then what you do has a different vibration, a different energy. There's all kinds of things we could talk about there with, you know, the laws of attraction and that kind of stuff, which I've read about, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, with any of those things, I think, does this help me to feel better? And if it does, I find that useful.
Because when you feel better, then you take action from a more empowered place within yourself anyway, right? So, and sometimes
you know what happens is you have that leap forward and you realise that the people that you're with are kind of dragging you back. And then you've got a choice to make. But make that conscious choice. Do I fall back, or do I just go, okay, sayonara, I'm heading this way? And I always say do that one. Because then the chances are, you know, you've gone up a level in the game, and so you'll be meeting other people on that level, and so on, as you like. But no, I'm not talking about Scientology here. You don't have to pay for it, all right? And at the top, you don't meet Tom Cruise, you know. You can do it yourself, and it's always about making a choice, and you've always got the power to make that choice. That's the thing. Just know that's where the power is.
And that's it's actually exciting, because then when you understand how much, maybe not control, but how many opportunities and possibilities and what you can create within your own life, just by taking responsibility and accountability for that, it's mind-blowing. And if you do that for yourself each day, even if you just checked in with yourself once each day, asking yourself that if you're doing that, you will straight away start questioning, well, what else can I be doing? What else can I be looking at? You know, how else can I be behaving? Who could I make an extra phone call to? You know, it's all these things that you can be creating for yourself.
10 minutes, 10 seconds. 10 seconds, you just sit down, or you just suddenly go, how am I doing? You just have a little think about it, even if it's for 10 seconds. That is better than not doing it. This is not, you know, people are busy, they've got lots of stuff going on in their lives, and they'll say, I haven't got time to do this. Everybody's got time for like 10 seconds. Or while you're waiting for the kettle to boil, or waiting for the coffee to be made, you just go, am I okay? Everything's all right. Is there anything to get, you know, just start to process a few things. And that's all it takes. It's you know, I think we get the idea that it's going to be a big time commitment. That you've got to sit somewhere quiet with candles and joss sticks and plinky plonky music and go and that's not me. That's not the kind of person I am. That looks weird. You don't have to do that at all. Who says that you have to do that? That's the thing. There's a way you can do it which suits you. half time during the football, just go, all right, how am I feeling today?
Yeah.
Apart from the result is going badly, you know.
Yeah.
That's what you can. You just have that moment for yourself.
Yeah. What I did was, especially like, you know, it wasn't too long after I got out of hospital, but I found myself, you know, on and off for a year, just going through these roller coasters of just really struggling with my mental health. Like I was resilient, but there was just times because I was more frustrated with myself, right? And so what I did was I set all these alarms on my phone to remind me to check in with myself, because I wanted it to become by default again that I was, you know, aware of what I was thinking, where my thoughts were going, how I was feeling emotionally, not so it would, like, you know, take control of my day, but I wanted it to, I just wanted to be aware. And because I wasn't feeling well, I knew that I, you know, wouldn't be able, there would be times that I wouldn't be able to remind myself of what I was truly capable of, unless I had that alarm to just go, hey Mandy, you know, and
as a little just alert to,
just a little reminder for myself. And on the alarm, like I put in, sometimes it was voice messages that I recorded on my phone to say something cool to myself in those alarms when it went off, and then actually written in the alarm was something nice to myself, you know, just these little things, just so I could check in with myself. And it doesn't have to be as extensive as that, but it's these little, you got to do what works for you, and that's what worked for me, because I thought if I couldn't think for myself or be on top of my thoughts as much as I wanted to, I'd let my phone do it for me. Better to be doing that than like getting dragged into social media and all the bullshit that goes on with that, right? And, you know, or negativity in regards to social media. So, I just thought, well, I'll leverage that. But it's cool to be able to find these ways that you can help yourself, right?
And the other thing that I think is important is to realise that, you know, the idea is, I don't want people to watch this and thinking, oh, you know, they've got their shit together and they're happy, clappy, positive people, you know, sparkle, sparkle. We're not. We're people. I remember when the opioids crisis, we talk about the United States, I remember they were trying to push antidepressants in Britain, and I went in for a medical thing, you know, just my knee hurt or something. And then the doctor went, so, do you ever feel sad? Because he's trying to push these bloody tablets. Like, of course I do feel sad sometimes. I'm a fucking human. What's wrong with you? Of course we're not always happy. People that are always happy are on drugs, all right? There's something wrong with them. There's something wrong with those people. Like, hey, shut up, you tart. You know, it's all right to have those moments where it's like, oh, well, this is a bit. But just think, well, but it doesn't matter, does it? This is the whole point. It's not about being happy all the time. Hedonists try and be happy all the time, and there's something wrong with them. It's just about
every day, every single day. I have times throughout the day, not heaps, sometimes it might be once a day, sometimes it might be twice a day, where I doubt myself.
Of course.
And that's, and then there can be days where I'm like on and off with that, like the whole day, and just because I've just had like a few kick in the guts with a few things, and I'm just trying to, or a health thing, and I'm like trying to like get myself through it, right? And so, but that's what building resilience is all about. Yeah,
because it's understanding that life isn't a picnic.
You know,
people aren't going to hand you happiness on a plate. They're not going to make your life better. You are going to have people resisting, either just unconsciously or consciously. That happens. That's part of life. So it's not. I'm not saying toughen up, princess. You know, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that's the way it is. And yes, there'll be times where you feel disheartened because it hasn't gone the way you wanted. But you know what? If it doesn't go the way you want, if it always went the way you wanted, you never appreciate it.
Well, I think it's just doing what's right for you. Right, and not, you know, like, and if
not having expectations. I think that's it. It's having 0% expectation, 100% experience. That is the way to feel better about stuff. Because if it doesn't go the way you wanted it to, you could be frustrated. Or you could go, well, that was the way that went. Can I learn from that? Can I move on? Because you know, we've all had bad days, we've all had bad weeks. But they end. That's the whole point. They end. So if you're in the middle of something and you can't see the wood for the trees right now, it will end. Know that it will end. But you can now decide to change the path you're on so that end gets quicker.
That's it. So we've covered quite a lot today.
Haven't we?
All kinds of stuff.
God.
That it's all been resilience It's all like when you come back to it, it all comes back to resilience, all the different components.
And the thing is, it's like, you know, the dog training method that I use,
yeah.
I'm passionate about it because it works.
Yes.
That's the whole thing. It works for me, it works for other people. Because I know it works, I'm not just saying words to make myself feel better.
Yes, yeah.
I know that the things that we've talked about today, I've done for myself and it works.
Yes.
That's the thing. Yes. It's not perfect, but you know what? There's no such thing as a perfect dog.
Yes, yeah.
𝗚𝗨𝗍𝗆 films was 3 male dogs, lots of outtakes. So there's no such thing as the perfect life. Because when we look at, you know, like you're saying, scrolling through social media and going, oh, these people have a much better life than us. Do they? Do they really? Scratch the surface. And I think you'll find that you're doing probably better than they are. But we do that comparison thing. We're encouraged to compare, and that is just a way for advertisers to sell you crap.
Yes, yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, you don't need that kind of thing to make you feel better.
Yes.
So it's just, you know, I know this stuff has made me feel a lot better.
Yes.
With whatever trials and tribulations have happened, which is part of being on this planet.
Yes.
Because there's some great parts to being on this planet as well.
Yeah.
And so it's just changing your focus.
Oh, thank you for coming on today.
That's all right, pleasure.
Awesome. And so how do people catch up with you?
Oh, right. Well, yeah, there's my website, which is tonyknightdoglistener.com.
Yeah.
I'm on Facebook as tonyknightdoglistener.
Yeah.
And YouTube as tonyknightdoglistener. So basically, just put tonyknightdoglistener in a search engine and you'll find me working with dogs and maybe some stand-up.
I'll include some links under this as well for people that they can get hold of you. That's good. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on today.
Pleasure.
And thanks everyone for listening. And any information that you have, like if you would like to reach out to Tony, make sure that you do. If you have any questions for me, please reach out. And have you got any last words that you would like to say?
Any last words
about
what's going to happen to me?
One short last word. In regards to resilience.
Yeah.
That is you feel is important.
The title of my ebook is Think Like a Dog, and that's how you know to get the best relationship with your dog. Dogs don't worry about the past or the future. They live in the present. Yes. That's something we can learn from dogs.
Oh, I like that. That's good. Yeah, actually, I'm going to actually take that out and put that in a little quote in this, actually.
Fair enough.
I like it. Awesome. Okay, everybody. Thanks for coming on. Thanks, Tony.
No worries.
See you later.